Call this meeting to order for the Board of County Commissioners. I would invite you to rise for an invocation with Alicia Swearington from the Royal Gorge Vineyard and stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Alicia. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne.
Present.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
County Clerk Barr.
Present.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Bryant.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Koch.
Present.
Next, we'll move to the approval of agenda. Is there any changes?
Mr. Chair, I am unaware of any changes to make today. I move to approve today's agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the approval of the agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, we'll move to the consent agenda. I will note on the consent agenda, we do have a scheduled public hearing coming up on February 27th at 10 a.m. And this is on the OPC High Mountain Meds. It's a modification of premises and amendments to the zoning resolution. And then on March 13th, we also have a public hearing at 10 a.m. This is for Crossroads Hemp Processing Application. It's a special review use. So those are coming up. Anything else on consent that you want to visit about?
Not that I'm aware of, Mr. Chair. I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Move on to staff and elected officials. We'll move on to the county clerk's monthly report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
My report is for the month of January. The total motor vehicle fees, sales taxes, and recording fees collected in January were $1,171,893.35. The county's portion for disbursement is $683,541.98, and that's 58% of the total fees collected, and is $119,446.73 more than January of last year. So year to date, we're up $119,446.73 from last year.
Looking good so far.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the county clerk's monthly report. Thank you, Katie Barr.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the county clerk's monthly report. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, we'll move to the county manager's report. Good morning, Sunny Bryant.
Good morning.
Morning.
So just a couple of quick items. Since we had 3 weeks in between our meetings, we've had lots of stuff going on. So the first thing, we did have a safety committee meeting. So this group is really doing a good job as far as looking at every aspect throughout all of the county buildings and seeing any ways that we can improve safety. We're working on looking at fire drills to lockdown procedures and everything. So I'm pretty excited to continue with this project. And then on Friday, January 26th, Stacy Quiddick Russell, Carrie Porter, Emma Davis, and I attended a child maltreatment prevention planning session. So throughout the community, there's a huge issue as far as children in our community being abused or neglected. So this group is coming together, and we're trying to look at what may be some potential causes of this and some things that we can look at doing to try to help decrease those cases. And we did have our auditors here on the week of January 29th to conduct our interim audit, and everything went well with that. So they're coming back the week of April 16th to do the year-end audit. And then on Tuesday, January 30th, Commissioner Bell, our intern Rod Potter, and I attended a regional housing study with the Upper Arkansas Area Council of Governments. And so that process is starting. They actually did obtain a grant, and then they're going to be looking at getting some matching funds from other areas that are actually benefiting from the study and participating in it, and then they'll conduct a regional housing study. So we're pretty excited to be a part of that. And then just a few projects that we have going on. We are in the process this week of doing the special audit on the Treasurer's Office, so that's keeping us and them pretty busy. And then as we discussed in the prior meetings, we're doing a complete overhaul of the county website and still working on the county's strategic plan. So all of that seems to be coming together.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other staff or elected officials got anything?
I have a couple of things, Mr. Chair, if I may. First, I would like to make note for anyone who might not know that we had a retirement here at the county last Thursday. Tommy Covington, who had spent 22 years here in Fremont County as our CSU extension agent, retired. It was a very hard, difficult decision for him. He definitely will be missed. Tommy did so much work for us here at the county. 4-H kids, he worked in so many other areas. He was a real driving force in the last few years of keeping everything up to date and well groomed out at Pathfinder Park. We absolutely are going to miss Tommy, but we already have started the process working with CSU to replace him in that position. He also is in the process of stepping down and walking away from the Florence and Penrose School District after 19 years of serving on that board. So if you know Tommy, if you see him, just a chance to wish him congratulations. And although this one is not a county retirement, many of you, I believe, know the gentleman. Gene McKinnon has served with the fire district in Florence for 43 years now. Many of those years he had served as the fire chief, and Gene has finally decided it's time to step away. So I know they have a couple of different receptions planned for him and different things, but I just wanted to officially give congratulations from this board for a job well done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Nobody? Okay. Citizens who wish to address the commissioners on matters not scheduled on the agenda. Does anybody have anything that's not on the agenda? I don't see a rush to the podium, so we'll move on to old business, which we have none. Move into new business. Item 1, approval of the city, county, and hydraulic ditch tolling agreement. I will turn to our county attorney, Brenda Jackson.
Okay, the city of Canyon City has approved this, as has the hydraulic ditch. The hydraulic ditch's attorney is the one that drew this up and recommended it as a means to go into a study for stormwater, essentially along the length of the hydraulic ditch as it runs through Canyon City. The tolling agreement essentially says any claims that exist as of the date of this agreement will still exist after the study is completed. Tolling just means suspending any claims, and the ditch company has threatened to file suit against the city and the county on numerous occasions. So this agreement basically says everything stays in place, everything is suspended, and any statutes of limitation or other defenses that would be available with respect to time passage to bar any claims won't run during the duration of the agreement. So if the claims have expired as of the date of approval of the agreement, they're still expired. They don't get to be revived. And if the claims expire during the term of the agreement, we all agree that we will treat them as unexpired and still valid at the end. So it's a 2-year agreement basically to cover the period of the study.
Thank you for that explanation. Any other discussion on it?
No, Mr. Chair, with that, I move that we approve the tolling agreement between the city of Canyon City Hydraulic Ditch, and the county.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve this tolling agreement. Any further discussion? A roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Move on to item number 2, a presentation of a proposed single destination marketing organization by the Fremont County Tourism Council and the Royal Gorge Regional Tourism Council. Who do we have? That's Steve. Are you going to?
Tag
Your
team.
team. You're going to tag team this? Okay. Who wants to start off? Okay, Mike will start.
Hey, Mike, before you start, you got to be real close to that microphone or it doesn't come through on the recording at all. So anybody that gets up there and talks, make sure you're pretty close to that microphone, please.
All right, close enough?
Maybe, hopefully.
Okay. No, hey, we're here today at the request of the county commissioners, actually. A couple of months ago, Steve Taverman with the Fremont County Tourism Council came to me as the chair of the Royal Gorge Regional Tourism Council and asked that we come up with a recommendation, joint recommendation, concerning the lodging tax and the administration of the lodging tax and the destination marketing campaign and so on. And we presented that recommendation to you in letter form, signed by all members of both Fremont County Tourism Council and Royal Gorge Regional Tourism Council a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week. And so we're just here today to make that presentation and answer any questions and so on. There's still some things that would obviously need to be done, concerning that recommendation, district. And but we're looking for an agreement that we would go after a lodging tax increase and for the region, not just Canyon City, and cooperatively go after this lodging tax increase and create a joint board among the two boards to administrate that lodging tax and the destination marketing campaign that lodging tax would fund.
And so this would create one entity for that lodging tax? Is that the goal?
Yes, that would be the goal. As far as the board that would administer, it'd be one board made up of primarily tourism industry professionals.
Right, okay. I think the idea behind this for the Board of Commissioners was to get government out of this tourism and give it to one entity so they can tax this with a lodging tax and then be on their own to market the region. I believe that's what we were kind of coming up with. I know Commissioner McFall is our go-to guy on the tourism, so I'll let you.
Oh, let's listen to Steve here.
Okay.
He's chomping, and then I'll.
He's chomping at the bit.
And then I'll.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes, we were asked to consider creation of essentially a special tax district, tourism marketing district, call it whatever name you want, but under Title 29 of Colorado revised statutes rather than what the city proposed last year under a city ordinance where the tax was applied only to lodging properties within the city. So if what is proposed in the joint letter from the two tourism councils were to move forward, that would be our task in the months ahead, leading towards hopefully a question before voters on this November's ballot to create a special tax district, the boundaries of which would would be determined during that development period. And those boundaries, as you may know, under Title 29 can be, anywhere in the county. It could be the entire county. It could include the city and 8 Mile Hill. It could be individual bubbles around the county. It's really entirely a practical matter, really, in consideration of what those boundaries might be. And then it would operate independently, very much like the fire district, the sewer district, the various water districts we have in the county, and so on. It would be controlled by a separate board, presumably made up of tourism officials and people around the county, representatives from both the county and the city, presumably, perhaps also from Florence and some of the other communities around the county, and tourism professionals that would operate as its governing board. And presumably there would be an executive director that would be the day-to-day chief operating officer, essentially, for that organization. And then, once that boundary of that entity is determined, it would be possible requested then of the city in a match of lodging tax dollars collected from that district and from the county in a match on the lodging tax dollars collected from that district. We completely understand that it is not a statutory requirement of the county to support tourism marketing. But supporting tourism marketing is a community development opportunity and a great investment in economic development. Really, that clearly is part of the role of the county and part of the role of any government to look at increasing tax revenue that do fund those things that you are statutorily required to make investments in or to make expenditures toward. In fact, this is a great, really a great opportunity for that kind of an investment. We have a study here which was completed by a private association titled "The 3 Reasons Tourism is the Purest Form of Economic Development." We'll provide copies of this to the Board of County Commissioners so that you can review that. Some of these things you're familiar with, others perhaps might be a little bit new to you. So that's kind of what we're proposing is to go forward with creating that district and then, put before the city and the county, with some realistic financial models of what would be, likely generated at a certain tax rate, again, yet to be determined, and what sort of obligation, not really obligation, what sort of a request that might create for the county and the city to match those dollars with some general fund revenue.
Now it's my turn, huh? So first of all, I commend both groups, Fremont County Tourism Council and the Royal Gorge Tourism Council, for getting together and coming up with this. It is something that we kind of felt would be necessary after last year's ballot issue failed, is to try to come up with one organization and create its own special district. So we appreciate you guys getting together and doing that. With this proposal, there is the request for the $1-to-1 match. First of all, let me back up. The lodging tax is at 2% right now, countywide. As a county, we cannot go higher than 2% per state statute, but if this district is created, they can raise the level of percentage of lodging tax collected. So with that being said, there's an assumption, I guess, that if this district was created, that it would rise to 4 or 5% lodging tax. Is that correct? Rather than the 2%.
Again, we haven't determined the number. We kind of try to work back into a number that would get us to a revenue stream somewhere in the range of $750,000 to about $1 million a year for destination marketing for the region, which would put us in the same ballpark with competitive communities around the state.
Okay, so with that being said, that much money, it would eventually be 4 or 5% to get that amount of money. Right now, at the 2%, there is no way that the county can even match the $200,000 that currently comes in from the lodging tax. We don't have a revenue stream for that. It is also unconstitutional for us to pledge 2019 budget to that, because we're not working on that budget yet. So we can't do anything as far as that goes. I think we would all agree that you guys form this deal together, come up with a way to get it on the ballot. We need to educate the public as to how this would affect or not affect the people that live here. I think we'd all be in 100% in agreement of trying to help forward that onto the ballot with some education. But the dollar for dollar match is going to be really, really hard to do.
Well, I think what's being asked for here, Commissioner, is really not a commitment, because we understand, again, statutorily, you can't do that, and as, fiscally responsible people for the county, you can't commit the county to an investment of that type, for 2019 or any year into the future. I think what we're really asking for here, and you stated pretty well, is the support of the county commission to say this is a good idea, and we are behind looking at creating a tourism marketing district. And if it is shown to be a fiscally responsible investment on the part of the county to match some of that revenue, some of that lodging tax revenue with other county funds, that you would consider doing that in future years. Just as you would look at offering incentives to any other industry that was going to locate a manufacturing facility in the county, or locate a new resort-type property somewhere in the county. Those kinds of financial development incentives are very much within the purview of the county government and city government. And the state does this, of course, year to year with funding the Colorado Tourism Office and their efforts, which creates a fantastic return on investment, as you know. Somewhere last year on the order of $534 returned in visitor spending for every dollar the state invested in paid advertising. So it's a great return on the investment. That's really what we're looking for.
Okay, and so, and I have just one more, and this is more of a personal thing than a joint thing with the other commissioners, but I agree, I would support, personally, getting this tax district together. Let's leave government out of it, but to match money from the government, the city, or the county right now at this point, it was voted down last year by the voters. I feel very strongly that the voters voted that down for a reason. Maybe it was on education of what the tax would be, but for the county or even the city to put money towards that right now after it was voted down would be wrong in my opinion. So let's get it on the ballot. Let's get it passed by the voters, and then we'll talk about the other stuff.
Okay.
Couple of comments
Okay.
that I would make as well, Steve, and Mike, thank you guys for showing up this morning. We do feel very strongly about tasking the Fremont County Tourism Council to move forward with this. That's why we had the meeting, I don't know, a couple of months ago with all of you to have this discussion. As Commissioner McFall just said, though, we feel very strongly that we need to get the government out of the way. So I really, really like, Steve, the way that you explained it and said that it would operate independently like any other fire district, school district, and other special district. I think that that might help people wrap their heads around it a little bit, because I had never actually considered it in that way. So I just wanted to say specifically thank you for that. Your reference to the county giving incentives for businesses to come here, I just would like to clarify, our hands are very, very tight as a county because we are a statutory county. We're not a home rule county, so we don't get to make our own rules. Because of that, the only incentives that we can give are personal property tax incentives. So we work with businesses who come here or who are looking to come here. We actually draw up contracts with them. We've done a few of them in the past. We're still under discussion to do more in the future, and we're more than happy to do that. But just as an FYI, our hands truly are very tied in the kinds of financial assistance that we can give to economic development. And finally, I just wanted to let you know that we met for our monthly meeting yesterday between the commissioners and the city council people from Florence. Our administration also was there, as was Florence's, and we brought this up. I just wanted to have a quick conversation about it and to let them know that our version is to get the government out of the way and to let people actually do the business that they think needs to be done. I think it's fair to say that the three of us are definitely in favor of seeing this happen and seeing the organization come together. So we wish you the very best of luck.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to item number 3, an appointment of a new member of the Fremont County 4-H Sales Committee to fill a vacant position. This is a term ending December 31st, 2020. And I believe we have a letter in our packet from Grant Airy.
Indeed we do, Mr. Chair. Grant Airy, many of you may know him, may know the name. They've been very heavily involved in 4-H here in Fremont County for many years. So Grant now is expressing his interest in joining our 4-H Sales Committee, which is the livestock sale that happens every year at the end of the big county fair. So this term would be for 3 years, expiring on December 31st of 2020. We do have some open vacant positions at this time on that board. We also have advertised, and this was, I believe, the only application or letter of interest that we did receive. So with that, Mr. Chair, I move to approve appointing Grant Airy to the 4-H Sales Committee for a 3-year term that will expire on December 31st of 2020.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? I would just add that Grant does a lot of work for the Fremont County Fair, and he's a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. So with that, let's have a roll call.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
He does wear those cowboy boots and muck out the stalls with the best of them.
with his cut-off sleeves.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, on item number 4, assignment and assumption of lease for hangar number 11 at the Fremont County Airport. This is from Bill Holt to Greg Tabito and Colby Katchmeyer. Who's going to take on this one?
Sunny.
Sunny takes on this one. Thank you, Sunny.
So we were approached a while back, and hangar number 11 out at the airport has 4 units to it. And so it was previously owned by Colleen Bobanek and Bill Holt, and they were planning on selling it to Greg Tabitu and Colby Ketchmar. And so Colleen's sale went through, and that lease was assigned a while back, and so this is the final piece of that where Bill Holt is making his sale final, and so we're recommending that we do reassign this, or the assumption of the lease between Greg Tabitu and Colby Ketchmar. So it's going from 2 prior owners to 2 new owners.
Okay. Do we have any further
I've
comments?
got nothing to add, but I would move to approve the assignment of the assumption of lease for hangar number 11 at the Fremont County Airport from Bill Holt to Greg Tabadou and Colby Ketchmeyer.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the assignment and assumption of the lease for hangar number 11. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, that concludes our new business coming up. We have a public hearing at 10 o'clock. It's about 4 minutes away. We'll take a recess for 4 minutes. Call this meeting back to order. We do have a public hearing scheduled here at 10 o'clock, and it's for DLJ Incorporated for new liquor license, doing business at Quickie Mart. And who is going to represent? Mr. Slater?
Your Honor.
Oh, please.
Thank you, Dan.
Great way to start. Great way to start.
Give you the biggest headache. Sorry. I think what I would like to do, if it's okay with the board, is make some preliminary statements and then have Ms. Johnson kind of state her position and
Okay.
her case, really.
And remember to go a little closer to the microphone for our recording. Thank you. I know it's a little weird, but
I understand. I appreciate that.
Okay.
And I'm sure it won't be the last time I refer to you as Your Honor. First of all, I guess I want to indicate that and ask the board to recognize that in the application, at least, a prima facie case for the liquor license, or actually, we call it a liquor license. It's really a fermented malt beverage license. It's not a liquor license. It's handled under a different article of the revenue code. And I know that it's easy to call it a liquor license, and the procedures are very similar, but I think it's important we make the distinction. This is a 3.2 fermented malt beverage license and not so much a liquor license. And that's going to become important as we get further down into this. But a prima facie case, I think, has been shown here. The notice that's been given has been proper. I think that the application shows both a need and a desire. As Ms. Johnson will indicate, what she's proposing, the convenience store idea that she's proposing, is a completely new idea that has never been, or as far as I know, has never been done in Fremont County and isn't being done now in Fremont County. So it provides, there's truly a need for something that's this innovative in this community And I think, as Ms. Johnson will show, it's something that's supported by people when you talk to them about what she has in mind. In terms of the desire, I think there's been petitions that have been presented by Ms. Johnson of members of this neighborhood in particular, and so we'd ask that the board look at those things as well. I think that the application shows that the applicant is of good moral character, that she's in possession of the premises, and that the premises are suitable. I do want to address a couple of, I know this has been a little confusing, but a couple of points of opposition to this proposed license. I know that there is considerable opposition by a nearby liquor store, but I don't think that the statute allows this board to at least expressly consider the fact that this would theoretically be in some sort of competition with that liquor store, because the liquor store has a different class of license than a fermented malt beverage 3.2 license. Second, I don't know that you can deny just based on an undue concentration of malt liquor licenses in the neighborhood, because the statute that talks about an undue concentration makes reference only to tavern licenses and retail liquor licenses, and this license, again, is not one of those two types of licenses. And we don't even if the board were to consider a concentration of 3.2 licenses in the area, I don't know that there is much of a concentration in that area, and I'm assuming, and I don't know that what the board considers the quote-unquote neighborhood here, but I'm assuming the neighborhood is considered to be Lincoln Park. And in Lincoln Park, as far as I know, we've got the Quick Stop, and I'm assuming Hilltop Market probably has a 3.2 license, and that's it. And for the most concentrated, non-incorporated neighborhood in Fremont County, I don't think that adding a third 3.2 license to that neighborhood gets anywhere near a concentration that would be harmful to the neighborhood. I think when you hear about this idea, when you hear about this new business idea that Ms. Johnson has come up with, has really, I think, planned well for, of which 3.2 beer is only a small part of this idea, I think that you're going to be very excited about the possibility of new jobs coming into our county, of new revenue coming into this county, and new business. And that's really what I know that this board is about a lot, is helping grow this community through free enterprise, through new ideas and new innovations in businesses, and that's exactly what we've got here. This is an application that I think is tailor-made for approval by this board.
Thank you. Good morning.
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 Okay, so my idea for this, it has been a thought-out process, and I've done a lot of homework on this. And my main thing is, well, I want a thriving and successful business. Okay, I want to create new jobs. I have personally interacted with some youth that has hit a bump in the road, per se, and just want another chance to prove themselves and do a little better in life. I can create these jobs for these people. That is a true focus of mine. I've been there and done that. Okay, I've been down this road and I have done that. I think it's a great idea for our community because convenience works. You see pay at the pump now. You see drive-through coffee shops. You see there's a lot of things that are convenient for people, and that's what they do want. My idea for a drive-through convenience store would allow those moms at the last minute that need diapers or milk or snacks for their kids for the next day at school to just pull up and have Quickie Mart go in and get theirs without having to unload their children, go in the store. It could be chaos. For the worker that's running late for work, they can just drive through and get their coffee, their fountain drink, whatever it is they may need. Or the kids, they're going to the college or school to drive through if they're running late and get whatever they need. The number one sellers, like I said, I've done my homework, are milk. Milk, cigarettes, energy drinks, fountain drinks, even potato chips, different snacks, coffees, lottery tickets. The list goes on and on. It's, I just think it would be a very, very good thing. There is nothing in our community such as this. And I think it will work. Convenience does work. So your consideration would be greatly appreciated.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Any comments or questions at this time for Ms. Johnson?
Just a really quick comment. I've been kind of talking with our county clerk here. I believe that Prospectors RV out to the west on Highway 50 actually is currently using this exact same method. They're a convenience and malt liquor, but without the drive-through part. But they have the same kind of license as well. So I do think that the drive-through part of that. We also understand there are alcohol stores, liquor stores that do have drive-throughs, but I agree that this is nothing like this so far. So thank you.
Okay.
I just kind of comment on that too. It's kind of almost a shame that we expect convenience like that, but that's the way everything is going. So it's kind of a cool concept. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing, so I will now open the public hearing. We do have a list of folks here. Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped the gun there. Before I open the public hearing, we do have to go with a staff report. Thank you for reminding me of that. Okay, so we'll hold off on that. Staff report, please. Thank you.
The property has been posted and is republished. I did go myself and do an inspection on the property, and there have been no modifications, and everything is as presented. So that's
it?
my report.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
I like those short reports. Now I'll open up the public hearing. Okay. First one that wanted to speak, James Henry.
So, I'm a local business owner, a father, and this store would help me in my business so much every day. Just my wife, like Brenda was saying, with the milk thing, coffee every morning for me personally, anything that I could want or need that makes me and my business run more efficiently, this helps. And I think Canyon City has a bad reputation of letting businesses open, about as bad as it could be, and I think you could turn this around. This could be a nice franchise for the community, and I support it, and I think anything to help the tax dollars for our schools and our community would be much appreciated.
Mr. Henry, can I ask what your business is? I'm curious.
I'm Henry's Custom Painting.
Okay,
Oh.
thank you. I've seen your trucks.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next, we have Ryan Quick. Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Good. I might look like I'm in great shape, ski hat and all that, but the truth of the matter is I'm banged up from head to toe. Just had 3 surgeries on my arm, I've had 4 on my leg. I'm made out of 3 different people. Some mornings I don't feel like getting out of the car, and this would be great for me. I've got a daughter, I can get milk. I could get some 3-2 beer. I don't like drinking hard liquor. I quit doing that. So, you know, although I look great right here, that's not the case. When we go back to my surgery history, it's long, deep, and, you know, like I said, I always don't feel like getting out of the car, so this would be great for me.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kay Abbott. Good morning, Kay. Pardon me?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll recognize Mike and Kay Abbott.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
We are the owners of Water Hole Number 1, and we are in opposition to this. We did get a petition, and we have 202 signatures opposed to the opening of this. Of those 202, 168 are Lincoln Park residents. If you'd like a copy, I do have a copy I can give you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Granted, they are applying a license for a 3.2 licensing, but there's one part of this equation that's not being heard. January 2019, 3.2 goes away and all becomes automatically converted to 6.0. And that is in direct competition with me. And 62% of my sales is beer. And that's pretty close, I believe, what it is across the board with all other liquor stores as well.
I'm sorry, Mike, what percent?
62%?
62. Thank you.
Speak up a little, Mike, if you could, because we are recording this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll lean forward.
Yeah.
The location is approximately 1,500 feet from the Alta convenience store, and it's 600 feet from me, so that's right in the middle of between both of us. So it would be direct competition and possible overburdens of the market. Also, on making a decision on this, I do have a copy of the Colorado Liquor Code where it states reasonable requirements of neighborhoods for the type of licenses for which the application has been made. It's the desire of adult inhabitants, the number, type, and availability of alcohol beverage outlets located in or near the neighborhood under consideration, and any other pertinent matters affecting the qualifications of applicant or the conduct of type of the business proposed. If you'd like a copy, I can give that to you as well. Help you make your decision possibly. One thing, Mr. Quick is an employee of theirs also. Granted, he is entitled to his own opinion, but he is an employee of the property there too. Okay.
Okay, so not to use the terms coming in through the back door, perhaps with this license application, in order to be able to sell the stronger beer in January. We just kind of feel like that is what's happening with this application. The building's been empty for over 2 years in the process of coming up with their convenience drive-through idea. And it's just like, why now? We're less than 10 months away from it becoming full-strength beer. And 3 full-strength beer within that short a distance is more than our little Lincoln Park neighborhood needs. Because truly, you're not going to have that many college kids stopping in for coffee on their way to class from that corner of the county. Moms and milk and diapers are great convenience, but I don't know. I don't see myself pulling up and asking for a candy bar every day or a bag of chips every day, and not having the beer to sell, I think would be a real challenge for the existence of their ongoing for their business. And we are talking about trying to preserve the ongoing of our business. So, just as important as a new business.
I'd also like to recognize all the people I've got in support of me. If I might ask to have them stand, please. I don't know if any of them care to speak, but I at least wanted to recognize them.
And I do also want to state there is a draft legislation dated the 6th of February, 2018, for changes that could be voted into place very soon regarding this transition from the 3-2 liquor license to the full-strength beer. And it addresses limitations on what their revenues could be off of beer sales and minimums off of food sales. It addresses how they have to handle that based upon the size of their store. It does bring in the undue concentration as a piece to consider. It does bring in the 1,500-foot statute between businesses, which was brought up at the last hearing. And it also allows local licensing authorities to adopt a temporary moratorium on the issuance of new fermented malt beverage retailer licenses between the effective date of the bill and December 31st, 2018. So this is proposed legislation. It's not passed yet.
That legislation has not been introduced yet. There is no legislation introduced this year pertaining to that.
It's marked draft.
And that may or may not get introduced, so it is not introduced as of right now.
Okay.
Okay, but I think it does address the ideas for the concerns of our community, that we could have additional 3.2 liquor licenses applications popping up in other places in town, not just next to our store, and then being allowed to get a license and being allowed to be transitioned in January to the full-strength malt liquor, no longer fermented malt beverage.
Okay. That it? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next up, I have Jeff Kane.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Jeff Caden. I own the business next door to the proposed Quickie Mart. And I'd just like to say, anytime we can get a business owner that wants to open something, especially a local, I think we really need to look at that. Alta's been mentioned. We lost Quick Stop as a local owner. Hilltop Market's now closed. So we just need to get locals where we can and keep the money here. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Next, I have Pamela Casey. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm not thinking about the beer part of it at all. It's like I have my grandchildren a lot, and putting them in, and then it's a pain, getting them out because you don't dare leave them in the car, and I think it'd be a great thing, to drive up and get milk, diapers, snacks. If I'm going to get beer, I'll go to the store. But I'm thinking, about, the convenience it would be, for the grandparents, the parents, not to put the kids in, bring them out, and put them back in again. So
Okay.
I like that. Okay,
Thank you very much. Okay, forgive me if I get this wrong. Shalom Knudsen?
Chalamet, maybe.
Hi, I'm Shalom Knudsen. I think this would be a fabulous idea. I'm a single mom. I hate taking my kid into the store. If you go in for milk, you spend 5 minutes arguing as to why they can't have candy, why they can't have a soda. The beer part, that's not the most important. For me, it's the convenience. I hate taking my kid into the store. It'd be so convenient to walk here, drive up, get milk, bread, and go home. It's 10 minutes out of your day that you save from an argument and hurt feelings and ridiculousness. Over convenience, I think it would be very convenient and very, very helpful for this community. I spend a lot of time on that side of town and could use it a lot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that was it for my slips of paper that people wanted to speak. Does anybody else want to speak before I close the public hearing? Okay, you've already spoken.
Yes.
Yes, will do. Go ahead and fill out a slip of paper and present it up. You bet.
There's one on the podium, I think.
Steve,
Speak first.
there's one right there as well. But you can go ahead and say what you'd like to first, and then turn in your slip of paper.
Well, I think that you all know me and how I'd like to see progress.
State your name, sir,
You know,
please.
new businesses, new tax revenues.
Steve, I need you to,
My name is Stephen Cool.
thank you.
I'm a realtor here in Canyon City. I promote anybody that wants to try to generate revenue. We all agree that we need that. We all agree that it would be beneficial to the county. If you go to Pueblo and turn down Elizabeth and go just past 29th Street, you will see one of these convenience stores. And it always amazed me that thing has a line at it all the time. I guess there's 2 of those in Pueblo. I'm not real sure about the other one. I happen to use Elizabeth a lot, but we were, myself and Brenda had thought about, how does that thing, generate so much business? And it's a new concept. I don't think the 3-2 is primary in the concept, but I think it is beneficial to the public. I think they will want that. I don't think it will compete with the liquor stores. I was involved with the liquor store business, and that clientele, I think there's a need for another type where mom doesn't go with the liquor store people. Mom contends with her own element, an element that lots of women don't appreciate in the liquor stores. So that's just an opinion. I think business is important to Fremont County and Canyon City. I wish you would consider this as it's a huge, tremendous plus. I think they would like to be somewhere else if they don't happen to own a business, a building somewhere else, you know, so I think she's kind of stuck with the location. I wish, you know, in an ideal world, we'd have buildings all over, but we'd like to fill the ones we have. I think would be beneficial to us, and I appreciate you listening to my comments.
All right, thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. Okay, anybody else like to speak? Come on up, Mike. State your name, please.
My name is Mike Madone. I wasn't really planning on saying anything. I don't have anything prepared. But I grew up in Brookside. I live in Lincoln Park, real close right now. I've lived in this area my entire life. I think this is an interesting concept. I think it's a neat idea. And there is a void with Hilltop Market closing down. I loved Hilltop Market. Being able to go there, I'm a lot closer to the gas station. I can get certain stuff there, but it was the produce, the meat, the things you can't get at the gas station that were nice that you could get at Hilltop Market. I think this could possibly serve as a function of that with the added convenience of the drive-through. But I don't understand where the liquor aspect part of it comes in. I just only seen that as hurting an existing local business. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. Have you fill out a slip? Thank you. Anybody else want to speak? Okay. I will close this part of the public hearing. Give Ms. Johnson a chance to speak, or Dan.
I think this may be a little bit of a tag team, but I did want to respond
Okay.
to a couple of, it appears that the only argument in opposition to this is that it is in theoretic competition with another liquor license. And again, if that is the only reason, I'm not sure the statute allows that to be the sole consideration of the board in granting or denying this license application. We do have some concerns about this petition, which we haven't seen, but one of the signers of our petition has advised us that she was asked to sign the petition and was told that if the petition would stop another liquor store from opening just, down the road. And so I have some concerns that the people that signed this petition were misled into signing this petition by being told they were signing to argue to oppose a second liquor store essentially a block away, and that's not what this is about. And then finally, in terms of these arguments that there's pending legislation or that this is some sort of backdoor, the legislature sets the criteria that this board uses to consider whether to grant or deny the fermented malt beverage license. And the legislature so far has chosen not to include the things that are in some draft pieces of legislation. And I don't know that it's appropriate for the board to consider what may or may not be done by the legislature in the near or distant future in terms of what additional things might be added to an application process down the road. I think we're stuck with the law as it is now, not the law as someone wants it to be 6 months, 10 months down the road. And the legislature has chosen not to include, when they made changes to the law, not to include things like the distance requirements or the competition requirements that exist in the statute if this was an application for a tavern license or another retail liquor license. And I think that Ms. Johnson had a couple of other comments.
Mr. Slater, before she steps up, I just would like to clarify something for you. I do have the petition that was just presented. Each page of the petition does state a petition against the issuance of 3.2 beer license. It also says we are aware of the application for a 3.2 beer/convenience store and are against another being in our neighborhood. So I just want to let you know that every page does say that. So despite what someone is being told, I really hope they're reading what it says at the top.
I would hope that too. And
before
again,
they sign. So just to let you know.
I appreciate that, Commissioner.
And everyone
Bell,
else.
since
That's
hadn't
what it
seen
does
the
say.
petition,
Yes.
So
I
appreciate
understand.
Ms. Johnson?
Yeah, I just also wanted to state that it is very unfortunate. My last hearing that I had a really big turnout of support for me, and unfortunately they could not make it to this hearing. Because I would like to say, all in support, please stand up, and I'd have an audience behind me, but that did take place. And opinions, you know, I appreciate opinions. My thought in going into this was not, it was totally a convenience store, period, okay? The opinion of anybody else, I mean, and I do respect that as their opinion.
I do have a question for you, please. Could you address traffic flow? I also live very near to that area. I drive through there often, and just thinking from memory, it doesn't seem that there's a lot of space. And so I'm interested in you addressing the issue of how you actually will drive through, how you pull up, where traffic might stack up.
Okay, so on the, let me get my directions. I believe it'd be on the west side of the parking lot, say Courtesy Coin Laundry. Okay, there will be a nice, huge Quickie Mart drive-through convenience with an arrow pointing, so they will enter in on the side of the laundromat.
So I believe that's actually the east side.
Okay, east side, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm not good with directions.
That's okay.
But, so they will proceed on that side, drive around, and on the west side is where the drive up will be. There's plenty of parking. I'm gonna have 2 people on every time, so one will be in the first car, assisting them, while the other is assisting the second, so there should be no type of backup traffic at all for that.
So if there is, it would be behind the building to the north
Correct.
and then to the east.
That is correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
if there was.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any more questions for Ms. Johnson? Okay, thank you very much.
So I have one more question for you. They can also, they can also park in front and walk in the building
Absolutely.
through the south
They could
entrance?
if they
And
choose to do so.
and there's parking in that parking lot
There
for
is. Yes, there is. There's actually probably 4, well, I mean, there's several parking spaces between one end of the building to the other. There's also parking spaces out towards the Highway 115 or Elm Avenue.
Another question for you. It's my understanding that in this type of a store, you would need to have separate registers for the alcohol, for the beer, 3.2, and separate for the groceries. Are you aware of?
I don't believe for the 3.2 there is separate registers needed for
Okay,
that.
okay. Something to just double check, maybe?
I definitely will do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Any discussion?
Sure, I think.
Yeah, I have something.
Okay.
I'm a person that believes in free enterprise. I don't feel that government should tell people where they have to shop. There's no offense to an established business, but I think that the concept of this drive-through, I, like you guys, don't know how many cups of coffee they would sell in the morning. I don't sell coffee in the morning. I don't know how many people would stop for milk. I assume that it'd be a fair number of people that did something like that. I also think that when I go to the liquor store, I'm a beer guy. My wife's a wine person. I wouldn't go to a convenience store to buy the beer. I'd go to the liquor store, buy the beer and the wine, and leave. So it's hard to guess how the effect would be, but I do think the convenient part of it is a considerable business that would work up there. Yes, there is the Quick Stop or whatever they're called nowadays. We don't know what that business is going to be like either. We're guessing on this new company that came in there. I know the former owners were great assets to the community. Is this new owner going to be a great asset? I don't know. It's a pretty big area over there. I think it's a great idea. I personally think it's a great idea. I don't know that it will hurt you as much as you think it will. Mike, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Commissioner Bell.
comments that I have, I agree with my fellow commissioners. I actually pulled it up online here on my little computer. I've always believed in capitalism. Capitalism actually is described as an economic and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by the state. And so I do understand that there is a need for regulation, but I don't believe that capitalism is a four-letter word. I also agree with Commissioner McFall to the Abbotts, just a side note to you, that if you can have 202 people sign petitions that quickly, and if they believe in you that much, I don't think that you should be fearful for your future in your business. Legally, I agree with Mr. Slater that we must look at this in accordance with current law. We can't even begin to consider what may or may not happen in the future. If we were going to do that, our hands would be tied. We would never be able to do anything here. So, Mr. Chair, if you're ready for a motion.
I am ready for a motion.
I move to approve the liquor license for BLJ Incorporated, doing business as Quickie Mart, a 3.2% retail liquor license located at 1503 Elm Avenue.
I will second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further comments?
No,
Discussion.
other than I wish both of you luck.
Absolutely.
It's a business world. Let's get along and make some money for everybody.
Okay, with that, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Ms. Johnson, you'll need to have a conversation with Mr. Koch, okay?
And with no further business coming before this board, we are adjourned.
That's what Brenda said yesterday, too. Gotta go.
No, last time, we're still on the air. Let's wait.
No.
How are you?
So where would I go? Planning and zoning. Commercial development plan question. Sure. Okay, yeah, absolutely.
It does not apply to 3-2.
Right, it does not apply to.
Sure.